Okay, there we go. We are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome today. My name is Iva Libosvarova, and I have a very special guest, and that's Brendon Watt. And I
Me special? Oh my goodness.
introduce you a little bit, if I may. Brendon, you're a worldwide speaker, best-selling author, and a facilitator with Access Consciousness, and you are co-author of this international book, Relationship. Are you sure you want one?
I,
And today we are together to talk about questions and bodies. And I do have a question for you at the beginning, and
you
that judgment and bodies, because I think that's a good start.
don't do it.
And I think you have plenty to say about the topic.
Don't do it. Judgment in bodies. Don't do it. There. I said it.
You know, it might sound so basic, and yet,
Yeah, but if you look at it, it's because it's a question that a lot of people have with this idea that if I could only find out why I'm judging myself, then I'd stop judging myself. Or if I could only get the things right that I've decided are wrong about me, then finally the judgment will stop. So we're using the exact thing to keep that's sticking us to keep ourselves stuck. We're using judgment to try and get out of judgment. And the thing that I've found over the years is, first of all, like I remember I was with Gary Douglas many years ago. I think I'd only known him maybe 12 months or so. And the man just fascinated me because I was just like, he was so different. He was everything that I ever desired to be embodied, and he just, but he was just him. And I was in the car driving with him once, and I asked him this question. I was like, okay, how did you stop judgment? Like, how did you get out of judgment? And he said, I stopped judgment when I realized that it's destructive to everything. And I was like, wow. And from that, recognizing that, first of all, acknowledge what judgment is. Judgment is a lie. So if you can see that and go, okay, so I'm lying to myself with this judgment. I'm lying about my body to myself with this judgment. What's a different choice that I have? It is a journey. Also, it's recognizing where you have these judgments and the willingness to have the vulnerability with yourself to go, whether it's with your body or in your life, and go, you know what, I got a lot of judgment of me in this area.
can you be specific?
Well, it's like for me, I've had struggles with addiction my whole life. And if it was, my main one was alcohol, but it's like, put anything in front of me that would take me away from being present. Yes, please, was my answer. And so that for me I had so much judgment of myself when it came to that. And one of the things I realized in beginning my journey with sobriety a few years ago, almost 4 years ago, I knew that I was going to have to get out of judgment of myself. And, I remember times of just being like, just in so much judgment of what I'd chosen, what I was choosing, and all of these things, and just being with it, just being like, okay, look, I hate myself right now, or I hate that I've chosen this, or I'm in so much wrongness of this, and I would just be present with it. And from that space would start asking, okay, so who would I like to be? What would I
May
like to choose?
May I ask you, when you said you saw Gary and you said, he was like embodiment what I desired to be, like, what was it? What was it for you in that moment when you saw Gary? Because we might have these like fantasies and idyllic images of what we want, but when I sometimes ask, like, energetically it's no. Like sometimes the desires are like a huge lie too. So this podcast is called like, what's the question I should be asking, body? And I think for me, stop lying to myself is one of the biggest challenges as well. Like when I think that something is true and then I look at it energetically and ask and use the basic tools of, like from Bar's class, what's light makes you know, what's light is true, what's heavy is lie. And sometimes it doesn't mean that what's uncomfortable is heavy and it's lie. It doesn't work like that. And so it takes us a bit of time to kind of get to the point where we get that.
Yeah.
What's the truth for us? So what was that moment when you look at someone and thought, well, that's it, that's universe, body, this is what I would love, just show me the way. So what was the beginning, what was the tools you started using and that could like shift you from where you were to the, you know, to the point where you were ready to make that choice and just jump into a new possibilities, new life, basically?
Well, you know, it's been so many choices, but I like the part that you said about, you know, what's true for you does make you lighter. You know, that's one of the laws of the universe. What's true for you will always make you lighter, and what's a lie will always make you heavier. But we misidentify that as, oh, I'm really uncomfortable, so I'm heavy, it must be a lie. Rather than sometimes what's true can be really uncomfortable when you've been buying lies, and then what's true, you know, opposes those lies that you've bought about yourself. And so with Gary, one of the things that I saw in him was he was just being him. He wasn't trying to get it right. He wasn't seeing where he was wrong. He was just recognizing that he was creating himself. And his basic point of view was, okay, who do I want to be? What's my target in this world? What would I like to choose? And from that space is recognizing that on the conversation of judgment is that although it seems to be something that runs on an autopilot, which it pretty much is, you know, most of us aren't present at all with where we have these judgments of ourselves, is when you begin to recognize, I'm choosing this, I'm choosing to judge my body, I'm choosing to lie to myself about this, then you have a different choice. You know, so it really is about saying, okay, so I'm choosing this. What would I like to choose, or what would be different? You know, there was a question that I heard. There was another access facilitator. She had a conversation with Gary. She was asking questions about her body, and Gary gave her this question: body, will you please show me how to take better care of myself?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was such a beautiful question to ask your body, because a lot of us, you know, when we're in judgment of it, we're not receiving from it.
Can I put it a bit like, some people probably even have a question like, how do I even start talking to my body?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, what are you talking about? Like, when you say that body is conscious and I can talk to it, can you say more about that?
Yeah. Well, it's like, start asking it questions with anything that concerns it. You know, so body, what would you like to wear today? There's one example. Because that's usually a question most people don't ask. They just go, okay, I'm wearing this because this is what I've decided I should wear. What if you ask every day, okay, body, what would you like to wear today? And just see what pops. See what awareness you get from that question. See what starts to show up. And then with, you know, even with having a coffee in the morning, body, would you like a coffee? You know, what would you like to eat? Look at a menu and kind of open it and ask your body, what would you like to eat? Or look in your fridge, body, what would you like to eat? And see what shows up from asking that question. You know, see what awareness you start to get. And then every time that you make a choice, acknowledge that you're choosing from a space of being present with your body. Acknowledge when it shows up different. You know, when you ask, body, what would you like to wear? And you put on, you put on that piece of clothing and perceive how it is that your body feels in it.
I like that very much. I still remember I met you first time in Puerto Vallarta at Global Foundation. And I look at you and I couldn't believe it's you because I knew you from the video. And I look at you and like, is that Brendon Watt? And you were pretty close. You were like, I don't know, 5 people away from me. And I'm like, he's blonde and he's so tall and thin. And I just couldn't believe it's you. And could you also talk about when people, for example, struggle with weight and they want to start somewhere? And because for me, for example, seeing you there was like, I would not recognize you, basically. I would later, when I would observe, like I could see it's you, but I didn't expect that body that didn't fit the image I had in my head. It was really interesting.
Well, and it's also like, how much how much of what we have decided is our own judgments is our awareness of judgments that people have of themselves, but also the projections and expectations and judgments that other people have of them. And so if you're listening to this and you're going, you know what, I'm really judgmental, there's a really, really, really good chance that you're not, because if you're even looking at that, I would ask, okay, is this my judgment or theirs? Is this my judgment or is this my awareness of that judgment? And asking that question, because for me, look, I talk about so many things that have gone on for me in my life and things that I've worked through. Like you would be doing well to have had more judgment of yourself than I've had of me. Yeah. And I don't say that as, anything but an acknowledgement. Is we do that to ourselves. We've learned that. You've been taught that. You've been taught so many things that might not necessarily work for you. And so for me, I had to, like I said before, first of all, recognize, man, I got a lot of judgment of myself here, or I'm judging my body here. Like if we look at food as an example, or how your body looks, how much of the judgment that you have of it is what you've picked up from others, but also where you live in a world where there's an image being projected at you about how you should look, what your body should look like, how your body should feel, what it takes to get to that, the exercise you should do, what you should eat, all of these different things. Everything has been designed to get you out of question and to not be present. Getting into question and being present is a choice that you have, but you just have to start. You have to start with those steps of, okay, so body, what would you like to eat? Body, what would it take for you to show me how to take better care of myself, how to be more present with you? What would it take for you to show me how to truly like myself and adore everything about me?
I like that very much.
Yeah.
You said during one meeting we try to see ourselves as one rather than everything. Yeah. And it really got me in a way. Can we expand on that a little bit more?
Well, yeah, we try to create ourselves as separate from everything as a way of having some sense of self. But it's like, take a moment in your life where you just know you are being you. Whether that's out in the ocean, whether that's with, friends who you really care about, whether that's out in nature, whether that's, being with some animals, being with your kids, whatever that is, just when you just have this sense of being. Get a sense of that. Did you feel separate from everyone and everything else, or did you feel connected to everyone and everything in that moment? You know, and that's, for me, I mean, I know when I'm being me because I don't feel a sense of separation with me and anything. Yet I've also done that thing of, you know, let me create some image of myself so I can, you know, be defined as me.
May I?
Yeah.
In this book, there is a chapter that about relationships. When we wake up in the morning, we should destroy and uncreate the relationship we have with anyone. And I was thinking today when I was reading that chapter that I've never like thought in the morning, hey, let's destroy and uncreate the relationship with the body I have.
Yeah.
And I thought that's, you know, I'll be with that for a while, because what would that create? And I do have it like an expansion that all those points of view I have about myself, like destroy and uncreate that, what space that would open up.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful example of that. And, you know, and just you getting that creates a different, it creates a different set of choices. You know, like we talk about it in the book of destroying and uncreating your relationship every day, which I highly recommend for everyone, you know, but that also is the relationship with your body. Destroy and uncreate that every day. And then if you could start your day from question, what would that create? You know, if you could start your day from question and then begin to realize every time, so even having this just as an awareness is, and I have this for myself, and I still see where I do it, and you know, and then I stop myself is I know that any conclusion that I have, any decision that I make, any answer, any judgment, I can't receive anything that doesn't match it. So
this is also like fascinating. Like I've heard it so many times, and my brain always goes like, "What?"
yeah,
It's like you see the limitation in it, but it like get over that. Like,
yeah.
how do I get there from here? You know, you
Well,
can repeat that again, because it's like what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how you get there is just first of all by acknowledging it, you know, and then go. I mean, I remember this one time this was years ago, and I was looking at the topic of money, you know, and I was stressed out, and I was like, you know, I was on a rant, you know, and I was like just rolling around with things in my head, you know, about how things weren't working and it was a problem and I was stressed out and blah, 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 you know, the mental masturbation that we do. And I stopped myself when I realized, wait a minute, I've just spent the last 10 minutes coming to conclusion. None of that was a question. Yeah. So then I went,
Yeah.
you know, and a good thing, I mean, the tool I use is I just go, okay, I'm being stupid. You know, I'm being stupid. What would I like to choose now? And see, and this is the beautiful thing about access is you can change the energy in an instant when you're willing to be present with the energy. So this means that yesterday's done. You know, and so that the tool that you mentioned of destroying and uncreating your relationship with your body yesterday, what went on yesterday went on yesterday. What goes on today is based on the choices that you make now and in this moment. So from that is when you notice yourself, you know, in a pile of poo, in a pile of judgment, stop. Okay, what question can I be? What's a different choice that I have available here that I'm not choosing?
And also, who am I being when I'm judging myself?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Whose eyes am I looking, you know, at me through? Like, whose point of view I'm taking on or buying? Brendon,
Yeah.
you are 3-day body facilitator, and you have a lot of creation going on soon, mainly in Europe. you're gonna on a tour of 3-day bodies, I would say.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit more about this class, about the flavor of it, what people can, if they have foundation, they can come, and can you say a little bit more?
Well, it's like the body processes that we have. There's a lot of body processes in Access, and they used to actually be, a lot of them used to be a part of the foundation class until Gary realized, wait a minute, this needs to be something different. This needs to be its own class, which became the 3-day body class. And so basically with the 3-day body class, you run processes for 3 days. And one of the great things about that class is it's about expanding your awareness with your body. So you're actually you work with a partner, you run these processes, but you're asking their body for the information in order to get a sense of what energies their bodies are asking for. So you get to kind of be in question with your body, with their body, and it's just a beautiful thing to see people, run these processes, have their receiving expand, but also their awareness of, wait a minute, I do actually have a different sense with my body. I can create something different with my body. And I mean, I've been facilitating these classes for quite a few years now, and it's always it's just a beautiful thing to see somebody come in and and have all of these judgments of themselves or judgments of their body, and just day one, that they start looking different, or they start just having this different sense of space with themselves, and then by day 3, and they're just like, they're a different energy. And for most of us, we don't really even acknowledge that, because you change and the change doesn't feel like anything. Being you doesn't feel like anything. So we don't tend to acknowledge it. But what if you could start, what if you could start acknowledging you a lot more also? Acknowledge where you are different, acknowledge where you would like to be different, and what it would take to choose that.
Amazing, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bathing already, as you're talking about it, it's like bathing in some of the energies. And what's great and what I like about 3-day body, that you are in the space with other people, and as they exchange different body processes, you kind of get the sense of all, like, all the body processes that are run in that space and time, which is absolutely amazing. So there are quite a lot of, I would say, changes. And for me, it was really uncomfortable to choose a 3-day body. And I blocked my bag and I thought, oh, I'm not going. And then I thought, no, I'm going. And what happened? It just was an invitation. Like, Eva, look at what you're creating with your body, and what are you aware of? What are you like so tense about that you don't want to go? And it just went away during the first day. It was like, that moment when you make a choice and it's like a switch, and so many things just melted away. And it's just incredible, miraculous space what we can experience sometimes. Like, it's just real, like, takes such a moment to change things from misery to like really ease, joy, and glory, which is for me an amazing gift of Access tools.
I know. Wouldn't that be cool if you never had to have the misery ever again? You could recognize that you are a wizard, but also if there's something that's not working, what point of view do I have creating this? Like, we create what doesn't work based on the points of view that we have creating that. So when it comes to with our bodies and these body processes, it's like, this reality would tell you, okay, what's the symptom or what's the problem? We need to diagnose that so that we can find the solution. Okay, so we're all walking around looking for a solution to what our body's trying to give us as an awareness, which means we're just avoiding awareness. You know, what if your body was actually a source for awareness and was trying to talk to you, trying to tell you things, trying to go, hey, there's this going on, or hey, this other person's got this going on, or what have you got going on?
I apologize. My kids are outside of the house and they want to come in. So I'll let them in and I'll just maybe switch off my mic in a minute. Really fun.
That was too cute. Okay, so for anyone out there, if you've got kids, you know they own you. So, you know, if that's going on, then that's what's going on. So you are so welcome for the SOP recording. What SOP are we talking about? Okay, so
thank you. And
you're welcome.
yeah, they are alone in the house and I have to go and see them. So thank you for the interview. And I hope that be the invitation. And as I saw your pics with the horses, even like what other bodies we can invite into our life. And we have our neighbors coming freely into our house and just warming us.
Yeah, what if your body was your best friend?
Yeah.
You know?
I really like in the embodiment book that Stein describes it as like, you know, it's your bestie. It's like your best animal that it can do, like it's like looking forward to fulfill any command you have, basically. It's like ready to say yes. So what if we could treat it the way it likes us, basically?
And that can be just let me say from navigating this myself also, for anyone listening, is it's like that could begin today. You know, I get what it's like to beat the shit out of yourself. I really do. I get what it's like to be in a lot of judgment of your body. I really get that. But I also get what it takes to change it. And it takes choice, and it takes the willingness to be vulnerable with yourself and just recognize where you have those areas, and just what if for today, without the need to change it, what if you could allow yourself to be with it, be present with it, and ask your body, okay, body, will you help me with this? Will you help show me a different possibility with this?
Thank you, Brendon, for your time.
So
many questions we can use straight away.
Yeah, and come and check out Access. Come and check out Access, the body processes. There's a lot of 3-day body facilitators. There's a lot of body processes. There's a lot of tools. There's just a lot of stuff that can contribute to you having way more of you.
Thank you.
And thank you. You're a wonderful gift. Enjoy your children.
I am going to.
Okay, good. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone, and thank you, Brendon, for being with us today.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.